I do wish I would have interned more and done more volunteer experiences. I think I could have spent more time actually working with people in the industry before I got into the industry. I had a little bit of experience doing that when I was an artist, but I didn't feel as prepared for the professional working environment as I had hoped I would be.
My particular business is a business where, we don't really accept applications. We never actively, we hire our go-to intern, 99% of the time. And it's, we already have that decision made up well before, we need to hire somebody. We already know who we can call when we need extra help on the back end. And networking is key. It's who you know. Internships, I mean, you're not gonna make any of those connections without an internship and being up here every day, talking to people and seeing people.
I think there's a difference between being hungry and being thirsty in the industry, and I think there are so many people who are hungry enough to show up to an internship and show up to work and do the task. And then there are people who are thirsty and they are like crawling on their knees for any bit of work that they can find to do. And if they don't see any work on their desk, they start looking at other desks and they go, hey, what can I take off your plate? Hey, what can I do? Is there, and it can be as simple as like in PR, every publicist has like discs on discs on discs of talk show appearances and everything else that just need to be gone through, and they need that amount of time that their artist was on air selected. It's something so mindless, and they have stacks of that stuff, but that's not something that they assume an intern is going to want to do. So there's so many tasks just like that in every single office on Music Row where there are more things to do and they could completely be trusted to an intern, but if you don't finish the task that's on your desk, those employers, whoever you're working for, they're not gonna say like, here, let me find you more things to do. Get thirsty about what you want to accomplish, because the person that goes chasing the work is immediately gonna be the first person in line when somebody is just overwhelmed and snowed under.
The attitude is everything, and honestly, if you don't have the right attitude, you're never gonna be on a set with me anyway. There was an example where I had asked somebody who is a student to perform a job, and this was my way of, again, sort of giving back and volunteering for like allowing a student to come onto a set. And as a producer, I kind of know where things need love and I know what needs to happen and I have the plan. And so when I ask somebody to do something, there's a reason behind it, there's a purpose behind it. I've thought about everything, I've thought about why you're there, I've thought about what you can do, and I've thought about how you can contribute to this thing. Well, this person didn't feel like that was the job for them, and that's okay. That person was not on my set. If you're gonna bring that attitude like that before the set ever even happens, then I have to maintain the harmony and I have to maintain the positive environment that a set is. And I can't allow any sort of that negative attitude to permeate a set like that. Got to bring smiles to set. Learning how to be outside of yourself and give back of yourself to different things is going to help in a lot of different ways for MTSU students, in the sense that you're going to learn how to network with people, it's going to create professional opportunities, and it's going to create personal development. And just being outside of yourself and having an attitude of service. That could be nonprofits, that could be an act that you want to work with. To be quite honest, the project that won the Emmy, no one paid me to do that. I found people that I enjoyed and we had a good experience together, and I was like, you know what, this can be really cool if we go back to Nashville and do this.
I interned as much as I possibly could, and I still don't think that was enough time spent in Nashville going to events and everything to prepare me for what the social climate was like. I wish that I was encouraged to go to those events more. And I think it was probably an insecurity on my part. I was nervous to go because I knew I would stick out like a student. And I think all of my friends probably felt the same way, and so a lot of us just didn't go to those events, and those were such great opportunities. When you start becoming a familiar face at these events, that's when you roll into an interview and they go, hey, I know you from somewhere. and it means so much more than people think that it would. So I think if I was encouraged to go to more of those events, I absolutely would have taken that anxious risk, and I would have shown up a lot more, and I probably would have been a bit more prepared before I even rolled into my internship.
A lot of this business is not based off of how good you are technically, but who do those people want to hang out with at 1, 2, 3 in the morning, at the end of a long session. So the people, typically if the engineer, say you're at a studio, the engineer gets a flat tire or stuck or something, and you're in a position where working on a vocal or a session or something, you can step in. It's client relationships is the key in all of this, and being a person that somebody should feel like they can walk up to you and ask you anything.
While I was at MTSU, I worked in the Career Development Center as a student worker. And as a student mentor, students would bring their resumes in to have them critiqued at the Career Development Center. And I would help them go over their resume and prepare it for work outside of the university. One of the most common mistakes that I found was just general spelling errors. People would write their resume really quickly, not really thinking about it, knowing that they knew the words that was coming out of their hands, and then turn it in. And there would be common spelling mistakes, and you don't want to give that to an employer because that's the first thing they're going to see.
It's a very competitive marketplace, and you need to know that going into it, and you have to be ready to work, and you have to be ready to work every single day. There are a lot of distractions in college, and you should definitely get involved in some of those distractions, but you should also make sure you're spending enough time volunteering, meeting people, talk to your professors. That was the biggest thing that, in the end, got me my job, is I got to know my professor, and I talked to him, and I said, hey, I've been in 2-year classes now, I've done really well, and I'm looking for internships this summer, and I just wanted to know if you have anything available or you know of anything that's open. He turned me on to the company I work for now. I did 2 semesters as an intern, and they hired me on, and I've been there for almost 6 years now.
Ultimately, you have to cultivate that internal validation, and you have to do that and make the choice to do that. That's something that's really important to me, actually, is that I know what I can do, I know what I am capable of creatively and professionally, and I really just have to be confident in those things. And that right there is part of knowing your worth, is being able to see, here's the work that I did, here's what the work did for other people, and maybe sometimes here's how the work returns some recognition from an industry, And so some of those things right there, whether it's money or awards or love from clients or love from artists if you're doing music video related or music related stuff, there's always sort of a barometer.
Look at your time at MTSU as an investment. You're going to get out of it what you put in. If you do an internship, you're going to get experience outside of the classroom and outside of the university system, and that is applicable to real life and real work experience.
MTSU had so many great things listed online about it. There was a lot of good press about the school, and especially for the price, honestly, was a big factor for me. I wasn't ready to pay X amount to go to a school that some people maybe said was a better school. You'll definitely get a job if you go to this school, but I know enough to know that it's a lot more about the work you put in. So I knew MTSU would be a good fit for me.
Through some of the coursework and the curriculum at MTSU, I really discovered that there was a wonderful sort of creative acceptance that they have there. They're really open to all these different ideas. Every producer, every person in the program is going to have a different way of expressing themselves. I always felt free to express myself in the way that I wanted to through some of my coursework at MTSU.
I had never heard of MTSU. I didn't know the school. I didn't know what it did, but when I lived in Florida, I was trying to find a school with a music business program, and I was calling around me. I was researching every school that I could near me, and when I would get these guys on the phone at admissions and these recruiters, we would start talking, and I would tell them what I wanted to do and how I wanted to impact. I knew I wanted to work in the music industry. It wasn't completely clear as to how I would integrate myself and what I wanted to do on a daily basis. I just wanted to help artists. That's what I knew. And it was crazy because the general consensus when I was getting in deep conversations with these people working in these other recording industry programs was they would go, well, you need to be immersed in in a city that's full of music, it sounds like. If we could do it again, we'd go to MTSU.
Everybody's afraid of failure. That's incorrect. Failure means you're trying. If you are not failing, you are not doing, right? And that comes with rejection, that comes with, losing a project, that comes with all these different ways a person can fail. If you're not failing, you're not doing. So as far as rejection, especially in digital entertainment, especially in the film industry and the entertainment world, you definitely have to learn to wrap your arms around rejection. Absolutely.